Started here. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sean Alexander from the Department of African American Studies, and welcome to this production of Peter Ukpokodu's play, The Migrants, which we are very excited to do. And as this is part of our ongoing celebration of our 50th anniversary as a department, which the Department of African American Studies came into being in 1970, and throughout this year we have been doing a celebration of the existence of our department. And we will have another program, which I hope everyone can join us with at the end of April on the 22nd and 23rd. So please be looking for that information coming your way as well. And you can always contact the department to find out more information. Again, we're excited to have the production of my esteemed colleague, Peter Ukpokodu's play, The Migrants. As many of you may know Peter Ukpokodu, this is a rare occasion that we actually get Peter to share his work with us. So we're very, very excited and to do that. And our other esteemed colleague, Nicole Hodges-Persley, is going to lead the production here with her wonderful actors that are from the Casey Melting Pot Theater. And we're going to have a reading of a portion, or at least an act of this play. And then we will have a question and answer afterwards. You can put your questions into the Q&A. We will not be using the chat function today. So you can put your questions into the Q&A and we will ask questions of the actors, Dr. Hodges-Persley, and of course the playwright, Dr. Ukpokodu after. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to my colleague, Nicole Hodges-Persley, who will do a quick introduction and we will go into the play. Nicole.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nicole Hodges-Persley and proud faculty in African American Studies and American Studies here at KU. My lovely honor to introduce this beautiful cast that will perform this first act of The Migrants by Dr. Peter Ukpokodu. We have Theodore Hughes, we have Desmond 337 Jones, we have Robert Coppage III, we have Louis Morrow, we have Dennis Jackson, we have Megan Hope Olokun, and our featured playwright. And please note, within your chat function, we have listed the cast for you. And from here, we shall begin. Part 1, The Divine Council. Though this supreme being has the face and voice of a man, it can be seen through his flowing robes that he has the well-developed breasts of a woman. His partial face mask is the multi-colors of humanity: white, black, brown, and other shades of human color. His headgear and his costumes imitate the human colors of his partially masked face. No wonder that humanity has not seen his face, even his partially masked face, until now. The visible part of his face is youthful and ageless. He is seated on his throne with Angel Gabriel, wingless in a flowing robe, standing in attendance to Angel Gabriel.
I see you don't have your wings on today, Gabriel.
Yes, your omniscience.
You won't go to Earth today?
I won't go unless you send me.
You used to make Earth your playground. What has changed?
When I took your command to marry the virgin, the human world was good. I loved it.
But now?
A lot has changed on Earth. Fierce storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes. A lightning bolt nearly tore off my wings. And I drifted where there used to be land, and it was water.
Climate change caused by men. Let them fix it.
A lot of terrible things are happening on Earth. People are beginning to despair. Some think you are asleep.
And others?
They think you've abandoned them.
Where are my princes? Where are my princesses? Report. I want my daily briefing.
Jesus and his mother are settling some issue.
What issue?
Jesus thinks it's time to shut the world down.
Why?
false prophets, false churches, false congregations, fake mega churches, all in Jesus' name.
And Mary?
Poor mother. She thinks the people will kill Jesus again, and that the second coming might end like the first.
Oh, mother of sorrows. Jesus has always been stubborn. He refused heavenly help from facing crucifixion, but it isn't his time to end the world yet. I won't intervene between mother and son.
Truly, the Father, taking the easy way out.
Do I detect some sarcasm?
Oh, no, I dare not, your omnipotent one. You're the omniscient one. You're the omnipresent one. You're the master of the universe, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Have mercy on me, your faithful servants. Let me not suffer the fate of Lucifer the rebel.
Rise up, Gabriel. You're forgiven. Where's Moses?
Your omniscience. Moses is at the mountain.
Again?
Again.
What's he doing there?
Moses is much troubled by the unending conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians. He hasn't slept for quite some time.
Geography 100. The higher you go, the cooler it becomes. Moses is going to sleep up on that mountaintop.
No, there's no place cooler than here. Moses has gone to the mountain to amend the 10 Commandments.
What articles of the Decalogue?
Well, he's particularly concerned about Articles 6 and 8.
Article 6? Thou shalt not kill? What's wrong with that?
Nothing. There's nothing wrong with what you've ordained.
So?
It's the interpretations that humanity has given Article 6 and that are problematic in dividing the Council of Divinities. OGUN and ESHU led one side, Olokun, Poseidon, and Hades the other.
OGUN?
In a thunderous, commanding voice, enters without delay, resplendently decked in the military uniform of a 5-star general carrying a box. He appears happy and content.
I'm sorry if I kept you waiting. I had to encourage the Israelis and Palestinians to keep killing themselves and ensure that the wars in the Middle East continue to rage. I suffered depression when Obama the weak avoided the war with Iran, Syria, and North Korea. Now I'm fully recovered and very happy thanks to Trump the Great. He's bombing away in Syria. He's dropped the mother of all bombs on ISIS in Iraq and has put North Korea on notice. People displaced by war, violence, famine, and terrible economy are migrating everywhere.
Why does this make you happy, OGUN?
If it pleases you, I would like my name pronounced OGUN instead of OGUN.
Why? We've always called you OGUN.
OGUN truly depicts who I am. I'm the patron deity of gun makers and gun owners. The NRA worships me. Think of the pistol, the AK-47, the AR-15, the machine gun. Some kids learn to use the gun before they can ride a bike. Haven't you heard of boy soldiers in Children's Army? They use guns, not goons, so I shall be called OGUN and not OGUN. Do I make myself clear?
Shut up, OGUN. You're OGUN, and you shall continue to be called that. I asked you a question. Why are you happy about the wars in the Middle East and the threats of wars elsewhere?
I'm happy because they bring me ratings. I'm the most highly rated of the divinities. When Trump sent ballistic missiles into Syria and dropped MOAB on Iraq, his ratings went up, so did mine. So did yours. People remembered you, Allah Akbar, God is great, they cried. Let me make it clear. The works of Trump and the works of my hands declare your glory, O supreme being. No other divinity brings ratings from humans to our heavenly kingdom than me.
OGUN, what has gotten into you? Remember before whose presence you are standing. Your omnipotence. Please forgive OGUN. He's always been impetuous.
Hubris, the pride that comes before the fall. The greater the hubris, the greater the damnation. The greater the fall. Hubris, the fall of Lucifer, your brother divine. Lucifer, the light bearer, the shiny one, fell and became Satan, the devil, the keeper of hellfire.
Please, don't send Ogun to hellfire. Please, your omnipotence.
I'm sorry, oh great one. Omnipotent one, I deserve the punishment you're about to give me, but I'm truly sorry. If you spare me, I promise it will never happen again.
Now, please, have mercy on Ogun. He used to be good. When the world was in its formative chaos and divinities and humans were separated, it was Ogun who plunged into the chaos to build a bridge to link us with humans. Please, spare him.
Yes. No one knew of Ogun's feat until Wo Soyinka stole the secret knowledge from us and shared it with the world. Before we could stop him, I wanted to punish Soyinka, Ogun. Didn't I send you to bring him in for divine justice?
You did.
Tell me again, the reason you didn't bring Soyinka to me.
I got to Earth. Now I found that I had a large following in Nigeria, Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, and Jamaica. My disciples were also growing in England, Republic of Benin, and the Florida area of the US. I could.
Go on. You don't normally stammer, and your memory is good.
Noticing that Angel and Gabriel and Ogun are still on their knees.
Get up, Ogun, continue.
I couldn't bring myself to destroy the man who's done so much to propagate my heroic feat and create devotees for me. Although I didn't like it when he also told the world that I was drunk only once, and he told everyone about it.
So you failed to execute the plan.
I didn't execute the plan. I told Yakuba, go on to imprison Soyinka on Earth.
Why did you do that? What the hell? Sorry. What the heck is wrong with you?
Nothing, except that my eyes were opened.
Were your eyes closed then?
I mean, my mind was open when I read Sophocles' Antigone. Human beings know how to write.
I thought you knew and devoured what was military science, the art of war.
Yes. Somehow, inexplicably, I like the humanities and the arts too. I read that King Creon imprisoned this stubborn girl.
No. What stubborn girl?
Antigone.
I thought you said it was a book or something written.
It's a book, it's a play, it's drama, it's theater. But it's also the name of the girl after whom the piece is titled. The play's titled Antigone. The girl's name is Antigone.
Okay, I get it.
Good. How irritating you are at times.
Who's talking? Pot calling the kettle black.
Black, don't go there. I won't get into a racist argument with you. You with your white feathers, white robes, and white Nike shoes.
So just do it.
Just do what?
Just finish your Antigone story. How irascible.
Are you turning the tables on me now? Are you squaring for a fight?
Ogun, finish your story.
Yes, sir. Creon, the king of the place, placed Antigone in a dungeon to die there.
Why? What did the girl do?
Antigone was told not to bury one of her two brothers, both of whom had been killed at war.
Why bury one and leave the other?
There are laws, and even when they don't make sense, they must be followed.
Nice, very nice. Let's see how you carried out the other order given by the supreme being.
I thought you were on my side, pleading for me.
Finish your story, Ogun.
Just as Creon locked up Antigone to die in jail, so did I persuade go on to lock up Soyinka up permanently. This was meant to shut him up. It wasn't an easy arrangement. I had to promise go on arms from Britain and the Soviet Union, and I delivered on the promise. I'm sorry, sir, so sorry.
Your ego interfered with your order. Your hubris at seeing how the people of Earth celebrated and revered you got in your way.
I'm sorry.
What do you have in that box? You always tow it with you like Roger Federer or Serena Williams towed their tennis trophies. Open that box.
It's a collection of medals from the world honoring my achievements. This is from the 100 Years' War. This from World War II. And this one is from the Vietnam War, the American War of Independence, the American Civil War, the Nigerian Civil War. I love it when people of the same country fight. Gabby.
I'm not Gabby. I'm Gabriel. Angel Gabriel.
Okay, Gabriel, control your temper. When I hear nations discuss the just war, I'm thrilled.
Why?
Can't you see? It means they'll soon go to war because they're looking for reasons to go to war. To me, every war is a just war.
Do you ever think of the innocent who were killed?
No, why should I? Humans call it collateral damage.
But people are killed. Thou shalt not kill.
Now leave that Article 6 to Moses to amend. That's his job, as if people who care who's killed. My job is to provide the natural resources for humans to make weapons that kill. Have people listen to Moses all those ages? No. The more they pray, the more they kill.
Nor have they listened to Jesus. Jesus told humans, if someone gives you a slap, turn the other side of your face, no matter the makeup or plastic surgery to the person to slap to. The obsolete old law is ingrained in their brains, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, vengeance. How sweet it is to them. When it comes to fight, humans haven't evolved more than their gorilla ancestry.
You're right. Oh, Supreme One. Can I speak candidly?
Yes, you can.
Without punishment? Do you grant me immunity?
Go on.
Do you grant me immunity?
Yes, and amnesty for your past indiscretions. Otherwise, you'd be keeping Lucifer some company in hell by now.
Lucifer, the Satan, the devil is grumpy again.
What's his problem?
He says more people, the dead, are migrating from earth to heaven than to hell. He says the wars and the drugs and the guns and the accidents by land, sea, and air kill more innocent people than guilty. The innocent go to heaven, the not so clean ones are admitted into purgatory, where they are quarantined and sanitized, then sent to heaven. He's complaining to everyone that hell's population is stagnant, but I digress.
Of course. It's no secret you suffer from attention deficit disorder, ADD, that you contracted from humans. Learn to focus. Seek help at the Office of Disability Affairs. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Keep a watchful eye on Lucifer. Supervise OGUN to build a high and impenetrable wall to strengthen the borders between heaven and hell. Tell St. Peter to exercise extreme vetting of immigrants from earth and let the Eye of Horus maintain vigilance over hell. Lucifer might be plotting a dangerous regime change again. Tell Archangel Michael to station the military to guard our brothers with hell. And let no gifts from outside pass from the gates of heaven. No barrels of liquor, no crates of purified water, no shipping containers, no horses, alive or wooden. You've heard of the Trojan horse, the fabled wooden horse of Troy, and no virgins.
No virgins? One of the prophets promised that as a heavenly reward.
I think he was talking of virgins already citizens of heaven. Inquire from him what exactly he told the people. Any virgin from earth should go through extreme vetting, very extreme vetting for drugs. Lucifer may go to earth to recruit virgins for drug trafficking. You know how charming he is. Anyone who doesn't come with Hades' stamped visa of admission on the passport to the underworld is an illegal migrant, deportable immediately to earth.
So Lucifer will traffic in human virgins who will traffic in drugs to enter heaven to distribute drugs to us?
And our security will be weakened. A drug addict is a wasted being out of the opioid epidemic. Before then, the lotus eaters.
And cocaine, named after McCain.
Cocaine is not named after McCain. He is much respected.
My apologies to the senator.
Just keep an eye on Lucifer. Follow his every move, but we digress. I will honor your immunity request, OGUN.
You had said that humans haven't evolved much since the gorilla origins.
No, OGUN, Supreme Being said, and I quote, when it comes to fights, humans haven't evolved much from their gorilla ancestry.
But their brain power is immense. They're almost like us.
Get to the point.
After you made man to evolve from the ape or the baboon or the gorilla or the monkey.
Just say after I created man.
After you created man, you took a rib from him to create a woman to be his companion.
Of course, man was lonely.
And you placed them in a garden where you had hidden our source of intelligence. They discovered it and tasted it, and they became intelligent just like us.
Close to our level, not exactly like us. If they did, they would be immortal.
In your omniscience, for you alone are the all-knowing one. Nothing is hidden from you. You have infinite knowledge. Didn't you foresee that humans would have some of our knowledge? Well, what did you do when you discovered that they have taken some of our knowledge? You expelled them from the garden into the world where they mutilated and shared their stolen knowledge with everyone, including tamed animals. Couldn't you have chained them to immovable boulders in the manner that the successive divinities you overthrew handled Prometheus?
Enough! Man, what insolence!
Let him speak. I honor the immunity I granted him.
When I'm blamed because humans use their knowledge to make guns and weapons of mass destruction, shouldn't you bear the whole blame since the original sin was yours?
Onanawa. That's what the earth people of Jatu, with whom you associate, frequently call you. Unanawa. Smelly mouth, disgusting breath. It also means you are foul-mouthed, that every word that comes out of your mouth is disgusting, despicable. Ogun Anowa, Ananawa. You have a foul mouth, Ogun. Your hubris, your arrogance, and your overbearing spirit run deep and wide. Your personality is very disagreeable. Have you been spending some time with Trump? Your immunity is over. You may leave my presence now. My faithful angel Gabriel, are there things that bad on earth?
Yes, they are. I have them all recorded for you. Well, some of them while you slept.
How long did I sleep?
You only dozed off briefly. A minute here is like a decade in Earth time, human time.
Shows me what's happening on Earth. Hold on. Finish the daily briefing first. You did say Moses is reviving Article 8 of the Decalogue?
Article 8 of the 10 Commandments says, thou shalt not steal.
I remember that.
When the army of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria conquers parts of Iraq and Syria to form a new caliphate led by Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, does it violate Article 8? When Russia annexes Crimea, that belongs to Ukraine, is Russia stealing by force another country's territory? When Israel occupies parts of the territory it conquered in its war with Jordan, Egypt, and Syria, does it violate Article 8? When China converts the South China Sea islands in international waters to its own, is that stealing? Trump wants to buy Greenland, which is administered by Denmark. Denmark refuses to sell. If Trump takes Greenland by force, is that stealing by armed robbery? Would it violate Article 8?
I can see why this is problematic. Humans have for long held on to the adage, to the victor go the spoils.
Babies are snatched from their mothers. Vehicles are hijacked. People are forcibly robbed of their possessions. Insurance fraud, bank frauds take place. Governments garnish people's money. And Bernie Madoff has raised Ponzi scheme to new heights.
What of pirates of the Caribbean and pirates of Somalia?
They are There are thieves, certainly, but if the poor are starving and they take food they are not given so as not to die, is that stealing? When religious leaders enrich themselves with religious establishment money to buy luxury cars and build mansions, are they stealing?
Are you asking my opinion?
Yes, your omnipotence.
Leave that to Moses to resolve as he works on the amendment to Article 8. Now, report on the other members of our divine council.
Let's see. Sue is here.
The trickster guy? The one whose tricks can result in human good or evil? The one who's led many to their downfall, changing fortune into misfortune and misfortune into fortune. Bring him in. What a burden it is to govern the universe. What a complex being the human is. What was I thinking when I made the human? So to speak, of course. Since the human evolved from the gorilla, humans and IBM corporations are now making a robot or mechanical being called Watson in their own image. Watson's artificial intelligence could surpass human intelligence. Can, could, will, would, shall, should artificial intelligence surpass divine intelligence? I shudder to think of that day. Elon Musk is trying to use the powerful space rocket to do what the Tower of Babel couldn't. And humans are sending rockets to explore the universe. They want to leave the place I confined them to. What a restless bunch.
Enter Angel Gabriel and ESHU. ESHU is licking his fingers.
I see you just ate.
Human beings are always leaving sacrifices and offerings for me.
I see your appetite is never full.
You can't blame it on me. Humans are a unique breed. Even when they are poor and starving, they offer me generous gifts.
Why don't you just refuse the gifts?
What? Do you think I'm so foolish? Does a dog refuse a bone? I must keep them servile, cringing, humble, yielding, crawling to me until the end of time.
Do you enjoy it?
Does a dog enjoy a bone?
Nice devolution, dog imitator. Why don't you join Cerberus to guard the gates of Hades?
Supreme Being, restrain this winged horse of yours, or I'll just have to.
ESHU, report on your recent activities on Earth.
It's been great.
What's been great?
The word great is not great all over the world.
Do you want some bone before you go straight to the point?
Looking at
Trump wants to make.
Looking at Angel Gabriel as if to respond, then decides against it by shaking his head to the Supreme Being.
Trump wants to make America great again. Macron of France wants to make the earth great again. And Putin of Russia wants to make Russia great again by taking Crimea from Ukraine.
Go on.
He likes suspense, always dramatic.
Nigel Farage and then Theresa May and Boris Johnson in quick succession want to make Britain great again by breaking away from the European Union.
Brexit, that's what they call it.
Yes, that's how it's known far and wide. The most exciting one is Kim Jong-un. Can you help me check if that's the name of the boy ruling North Korea? That boy is playing with fire. He wants to make North Korea great by lighting up the skies with weapon-grade rockets again and again. Trump is provoked. The boy is said to have executed his uncle and assassinated his stepbrother.
Tell me, you are responsible for the political turmoil in America.
I surely am. I am. I tricked Hillary Clinton into thinking she was winning the US presidential election. And at the 11th hour, I gave it to Donald Trump, but not before disgracing Trump by revealing his sex scandals. He is a damaged president. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. For the God.
Have you taken permission from Handel for this song?
Was it Handel or Mozart?
Blockhead.
How rude.
Finish your vainglorious port, lunatic.
Does my happiness irritate you?
Who takes joy in causing mischief?
He is the God of mischief. Let him continue.
I gave the victory to Trump and put the blame on James Comey. Trump will build a wall along Mexico's border to prevent migrants from coming to the US. He'll deport undocumented Mexicans and other Latinos in the US. Families will be torn apart. I love it.
Schadenfreude. That's what the Germans call it.
What's that?
What's what?
Shady fraud.
No, not shady fraud. Schadenfreude. Rejoicing at another's misfortune.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm celebrating my accomplishment in Trump.
Migrants have died in the Arizona hot lane.
Trump's wall will prevent that.
Migrants have died crossing the Rio Grande.
Yes, the great river. Trump's wall will save lives. No one will cross the Rio if they know they can't climb the wall to the US.
The cross-border trade between the two countries will suffer. Families will be separated.
Smuggling will stop. Drugs will stop. Guns will stop. MS-13 gang will stop. Human and sex trafficking will stop. Americans will live happily ever after.
The Pope encouraged building bridges, not walls.
The Pope lost. Trump won. The people elected Trump.
You have a special affection for Trump.
Not really. He's just my latest experiment in hubris.
Trump was already arrogant.
That's why I chose him. I'll raise him high up, pump up his ego, and at the height of his hubris, dash him to the ground.
And why would you do that?
Just as I did the Clinton woman. When she found some people despicable and called them deplorables, when she thought victory was in sight, I brought her crashing down. Literally. She fell down twice.
No, people held her up before she slumped to the ground the second time.
Okay. And she fell short of reaching the promised land, the White House.
She was at the White House before.
Serving tea to visitors.
No, she was the first lady.
Not on her own merit, but because of her husband's.
Did it dawn on you how her loss would affect Obama's legacy?
Yes, yes. That's also why I made the Clinton woman lose the election. Obama was becoming too proud. He wasn't campaigning for the Clinton woman. He was campaigning for his legacy. I was tired of hearing him trumpet. His legacy, his legacy, his legacy all over the place. How annoying. The Clinton woman.
She has a name. She's called Hillary.
Hillary Clinton was a tool useful only to protect Obama's legacy. In one master stroke, I brought her and Obama's legacy down. I killed two birds with one stone.
Is there any lesson here other than the age-old fall of man?
And woman.
Because of pride.
Yes. What we have heard from ages. Count no one blessed until the person has lived in harmony and died in peace to meet the Creator in paradise.
No wonder some people put themselves and others in harm's way as a shortcut to paradise.
There is another lesson, best spoken in Latin. In te ESHU speravi, non confuta in eternum.
Let me translate it. In you and Sue have I hope. Let me not be confused forever. What the?
Yes, I am the God of confusion, the God of mischief. Let humans pray each day that I don't confuse them. Great shall be the fall of Trump. Tony Scaramucci, the mooch, shall hasten the confusion that comes before the fall. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
I haven't called you yet. It's Muhammad's turn.
Get out of my way, Gabriel of the wings. Mohammed is settling the fight between the Shiites and the Sunnis.
The violence has flared up again?
It has, and Mohammed will be gone for quite some time.
Olokun, goddess of the sea, why this sad face?
The children are dying.
Fathers and mothers, sons and daughters, small and big, young and old, all of them dying at sea. We are mad at Hades.
Why so?
Hades has made the Mediterranean the burial ground of the migrants.
And the Aegean Sea the water cemetery of migrants. Cast your fishing net at sea, and it will catch more dead bodies than fish.
It will surely catch more dead babies than little fish.
The shores of the seas are laden with yellow jackets.
Life jackets that couldn't save the men and women, the mothers and their children.
And the young and the old from drowning.
There are too many deaths at sea that I can handle. People who are supposed to migrate from the land of want to the land of plenty are now migrating from the land of life to the land of death.
Their untutored boat captains can't read sea signs. At the crossroads of the sea of life and the sea of death, they make the wrong turn into the sea route of the dead. So they die.
We're facing a population crisis. My land, the land of the dead, is now overpopulated. The young who die before their time are no longer accepted by me. They're illegal and undocumented. Let the seas where they die keep them until the final day when the trumpet shall sound and all the dead will rise to stand before Supreme Being for judgment.
I am a goddess, a mother, and I know the pains of childbirth and the joys of motherhood. Many a night, many a day I have wept over little Elon.
Picture of the 3-year-old boy Elon Kurdi appears on the screen or cyclorama. His lifeless body is on the ground. His face is down and his head turned left on the shores of the Aegean Sea where he had been washed ashore.
Elon, just 3, was the youngest in a family of 4. He and his 5-year-old brother, his mother drowned. Only Elon's father survived. And the family was migrating from Syria to Europe to escape death in Syria and begin a new life in Europe. God, no, Elon was too young to die. The sea washed him ashore, and there the water, gently lapping his face, then receding and returning again to caress his face gently as if attempting to bring him back to life, and wondering what the sea had done to an innocent child. The sea itself wept, and I wept, for I am a mother. I wept copiously for the mother who was not there to cradle her son's head in her arms and wash the sands of the shore off his innocent face with her tears. Oh, I'm a mother. I am a mother. I am a mother.
Poseidon takes Olokun's hand and they walk off stage. Supreme Being, Hades, and Angel Gabriel focus their gaze on the picture of Elon on the cyclorama over the screen. Lights fade to black and play.
Thank you, everyone. This is that moment, you know, it's the weird moment in the virtual world, right? That we would all be standing up and clapping at this time and appreciating everything from our actors and congratulating them and congratulating our playwright for this wonderful production and reading of Dr. Ukpokodu's part of Dr. Ukpokodu's play, The Migrants. Again, we have the question and answer section open, so you can place your questions in there as we're moving forward, and we'll bring Dr. Ukpokodu back on screen as well, and we will ask the questions to him, but also if you have questions to Dr. Hodges-Persley and the actors, we'll leave it open that way. So I have one here. Peter, if you can come back on the screen, open up your video and open up your mic. There we are. I'll go ahead and read them or portions of them, but you should see them as well. But I'll read them because I'm not sure that the audience can see it. So I have one person says, I have thoroughly enjoyed this entertaining and incisive reading. Thank you to the actors, Nicole and Peter. A question for Peter Ukpokodu. How did you deal with incorporating the tensions between recent current political and cultural issues in the US and maintain a classical architecture veneer for the play? That is to say, how did you decide how to use current examples to such good effect, such as OGUN claims, quote, we got quotes from the play here, Peter. So the very detailed listeners here. Quote, the NRA worships me, and Gabriel saying, quote, just do it. The Clinton woman, migration crisis, etc. Will this perhaps freeze the play in a current time or give it longevity as snapshots to the Trumpian time period? I asked to learn more about the power of theater as it engages with recent events and creates an archive for us to remember the recent past. That is quite the question, and many layers of the question there, but a fantastic question. So,
okay, let me begin by thanking the director, a great colleague of mine, Dr. Nicole, Hodges-Persley, and all the actors. I particularly enjoyed all the readings, very good cast, and it's as if I was thinking of Megan when I wrote the role of Olokun. Great job, all of you. Okay, to the question, yes, bringing in the NRA, bringing in the things that have happened politically, well, not far away. It was important to capture these moments. I can see you also concerned with history, how to make it, all these things not ossified in history, but keep on capturing current events. Well, that's what we do in theater. We want to write some plays that eventually would live on forever, because you don't throw away history, you don't throw away the past. But at the same time, we know that events keep occurring. And that means that the playwright has new materials to continue that particular trend, whether political, socio-political, or cultural. And that is what has sustained the theater over the years. The theater never dies. And so one of the ways that I've approached this whole thing is actually to go to the past, the great mythological past, and bring in some of those things to make it have that epic proportion. it's very important to do that because we're creating that lineage then to what happened in the past, whether mythology or real. And then by the time you tie it onto the present, there's that continuity of existence, the way that human thoughts have developed over the years. It's a pity I finished writing the play before Trump's insurrection at the Capitol. But that also leaves some moment, perhaps for the next play to come. Yes, this could be read, even if it stays for a while, it could be read as part of history. And that was why the research about it. This is not the whole play. Just remember, this is just part of that, because by the time you get to other parts of the play, ISIS and what has happened, what is making these migrants to move and all that, you find a whole argument, both researched and created in a way, as in part one, to see how heaven meets the earth. I didn't want to leave it to the current dominant religions, and that was why I decided to use all those mythological figures. Well, we call them mythological figures, but if people actually believe in them, in OGUN, ESHU, and the rest of them, this is part of their religion. Yeah. But you see then that bringing in Hades, Poseidon, and the rest of them, I'm actually looking at that great past from which we all inherit in our culture or cultures. Okay.
So that maybe leads us into the next question here, Peter. So the next question is, what is the rationale for having Yoruba gods report / be subservient to a supreme being fashioned in the image of a Christian God, and having them in perpetual fear of being damned for speaking out of turn? Why are all the references of creation dependent on the Christian creation myth, a la the idea of the Garden of Eden, creating Eve from the rib of Adam's rib, the original sin, the trumpet sounding, etc.?
I wasn't bringing in here a conflict of culture. No. What I'm doing right here, I didn't outright call the supreme being. I didn't use the usual term God. Yeah, you can infer that the God of the play, the way it is described, has all the forms of both men and women and of all races. Is that the God of Christianity or of Islamic religion? No. This is creating that supreme being, and that is why I put in that supreme being, because within that council of supreme being, you have in what you may have in various religions, whether it is Christianity, whether it is traditional religion, or past religions, Greco-Roman past religions. Yeah, this becomes so important because if you remember the concept that gods or goddesses, well, not goddesses, gods used to overthrow other gods, then you can see the depth of my thinking in what I'm doing here. There used to be coup d'etats by the gods. Kronos, for example, overthrew his father, Uranus, to be the god of the universe. And in turn, Zeus, the son of Kronos, also overthrew his father, Kronos. And then, of course, he established himself in power with his thunderbolt. So all these are in that play. It's a pity you didn't have the script to read, because when you hear my bringing in climate change, of the thunderbolt, almost tearing off the wings of Angel Gabriel. That is not your Christianity. Yeah. If the Pope hears me writing of Christianity that way, trust me, he will excommunicate me. And yeah, so that's not at all. These different cultures that are merging, that I'm bringing together. You cannot run away from bringing in what we know about the dominant religions, Christianity, Judaism, yes. But they also brought in to look at all these issues that are plaguing the world. Yeah, you don't run away from great books. You don't run away from cultures. And this is what I'm doing in this particular play. If I knew more of Asian culture, Chinese culture, I would even bring all those things in, because as you will see in other parts of this play, I'm bringing in the Rohingyas, what they're suffering, and all the rest of them. So there's a lot of things here.
Great. So we have other people saying yes to a sequel in response to what you were saying before, and other people saying congratulations that they thoroughly enjoyed the play. Another question is, what was your inspiration? What sparked the inspiration to start this play and write this?
I don't know if I should leave that to Nicole, but yeah, I can answer it. Why? Sorry, Nicole, I'm not putting you on the spot. Why I said that is that there is a preface or a kind of what inspired me to write in it. It's actually Elan Cordy, the little boy. Yeah. I still think about that seriously, and that is why I've enjoyed the way that Megan wrote it. What does a 3-year-old know? Yeah, and they're running away to be safe, and then the boy is killed, drowned. Yeah, you see the pictures that came out in Time magazine. You can still find it, I think, in the internet. With the face on the shore, the sands and all that. And then somebody then picking the dead body up. No. So that inspired me, that moved me. It still moves me. And then by the time you come to other parts of the play, as you will see eventually, you will see the Rohingya woman whose child also died. So these are very moving situations. Those are the things that inspired me. And I'm personally a migrant, let me put it that way. Not, of course, you cannot just migrate from Nigeria, the place of my birth, to the US. Came in legally, yeah. But that does not mean that I don't see the problems that people are going through. And that was the whole idea. These are people who are running away from the war cause. And this is what you'll find in Act 2 and Act 3. My earlier plan was to make it a trilogy. And so this is just part of it, but I also realized that not many people are going to be buying the 3 plays. And a friend of mine also advised that I should merge them into one play. So what Nicole has done here is to direct this play so well. It's just the first act, so that by the time you move to the others, you'll see then, yeah, what is happening. So the inspiration is actually, yeah, from the death of that child. And then, of course, I think I finished writing the play, or almost, when these issues of children be put in cages occurred.
I mean, Nicole, maybe we could bring that to you as well, the inspiration and the choice of this act, right, out of the play that you chose.
Well, I think it's a very concentrated play. I think it uses a certain type of theatricality to highlight the events, because the events are so tragic and much of our lives that we need kind of these characters to hold it, and for them to be kind of bigger than life, so that they can tell the story. And it can come off, it can feel like it's a lot at first when you read it. But then once the actors kind of sink into it, they're able to just let the words kind of flow through them and let the story work itself out. I think it's hard not to judge a script when you first come to it, because you bring certain type of knowledge that you have, or lack of knowledge too. And I think the crashing of cultures that's happening within the play is trying to really highlight where our intersections are. And I think sometimes they're there, whether we know what they're about or not. And I think, when Dr. Ukpokodu was talking about Elan Kurdi, and the way that Megan was highlighting that I am a mother, I'm a mother, I'm a mother, that, we forget about children. We forget about humanizing the trauma and the tragedy. And I think we only end up talking about our humanity in times of crisis. We talk about things about race or ethnicity or gender, sexuality, nationality. We kind of live our identities through those intersectional points. But when we talk about humanity in an academic environment, I think it gets situated in ways that are challenging for people. And I think this play asks us to think about, if you're just talking about a child, like, how do you deal with that? How do you explain this to a child? So we just kind of took it easy on it's a light, like direct, like, let's just let the play live. Let's just let the actors actually embody the characters the best they can and talk to each other that's what actors do. They talk to each other and respond. So we enjoyed it. I think it comes alive once they get a chance. We all get to sit with it. I'm hoping that folks that you will have the play published, and I'm hoping that this will be a great time capsule. We talked about it as actors and directors, how it'd be so cool to really introduce young people to Yoruba mythology in a way that they've never been able to get it into our, school curriculums, and even our, undergrads don't really get a chance to sit with Yoruba mythology. So we were thankful for that here.
Very good. So one person maybe connected to the idea of how the play resonates, right, with people. Someone said, and the question earlier about, whether it be frozen in time, right, with some of the references you do, there's not necessarily a question, but a comment from someone saying that, one, they enjoyed everything, the play and the reading, but they said that Ogun's self-proclaimed purpose and his speech about the pronunciation of his name is so relevant and sobering with this week's mass shooting, right? And so it shows us that the play, while it refers to, I think, specific events that have happened in the last few years, it actually has power and will continue to resonate with us as we move through. And I think that goes back to that question of what it will do, whether or not it'll be frozen in time or not. And we have another comment as well. They find the production to be very impressive from both the historical and contemporary context, and they look forward to the future productions. And they congratulate Peter and the actors and the department as a whole, which we're very happy about, right? And we're going to take this show on the road, and they want us to take it to the White House, right, in production. So that would be a wonderful thing for us to do, right? But I think just taking that moment with it, with those comments, I think one of the great things about this play and using it as one of the events that we're having to celebrate our 50th anniversary is it shows the power of Black studies and the broadness of Black studies, and how we use different mediums to talk about experiences in the world, and can talk about contemporary, historic, and intersect using performance, using the arts in a way that maybe people don't necessarily think of. And Hamilton went to the White House, so why can't we, right? So,
well, Sean, I just want to jump in. There's a lot of questions here, but I did want to say, we had a I work with these actors a lot. So I feel very fortunate to know their rhythms and their capacities as artists. And they never cease to amaze me. They did one read through of this play, and the actors at KC Melting Pot, they come prepared, they drill down, I felt like they really did a beautiful job enlivening this text. And Megan in particular is not with us. She's coming to us from Atlanta. So this is the power of Zoom. She's a Kansas City native, been working in LA and New York. Trey is, moving around. They work across TV, film, and theater. And we also happen to have the executive director and founder of KC Melting Pot with us, Harvey Williams, who supports us, even if he's not performing and comes out. So as artistic director, I just wanted to give a shout out to the actors for, just jumping in and wanting to really illuminate this work and have fun with it. And I think they did a great job.
I think they did a fantastic job, and we're thankful to everyone in doing that. And we're so lucky to have a colleague like yourself, Nicole, and the connections that you have with these great actors and KC Melting Pot, a great theater group in our backyard, right? And we need to promote that and support that as much as possible. So thank you very much. Someone also talks about, again, the inspiration and the title itself, right, that gives it such power, the migrants. And again, this story just continues, right? You're talking about what's happening between the continent and of Africa and Europe, but we have over the last few years, we have the Mexican border, right, and migration, and we have crises there that this could be speaking about there as well. So it's going to have staying power, I think, with that. Another person asked about the play itself and whether or not they can get a recording of it. This is being recorded, and we will put it on our YouTube channel, just so you know of that. So it will be there. Another person says congratulations to everyone, to Peter, Nicole, and the group of actors. They have a question for Peter. Is there a place we can read this play? And I was also wonder if you might speak to your references of Antigone and the enduring power of this play on you and or other playwrights.
Okay. Thank you for your comments, first of all. I haven't published the play yet, so there is nowhere you can get it, but I think I can make a pre-publication copy available to you. Yeah. Okay. The other thing is about my using Antigone. Okay. So Sophocles' Antigone, is one of those very powerful Greek plays. It also takes me and the play that I've written to that great period, what we call classical Greek theater, that particular time. Yeah, Antigone has affected so many playwrights, and certainly it's affected me because it's a question of justice. How can you be fair if you lose two brothers? One, they're fighting opposite sides of the war. One fighting for the government, the other opposing the government. Both of them are killed. So here is a sister already who is bereft of two brothers. So the state gave very good burial ceremony and with all pomp and pageantry for the one who was killed fighting for the state. But the king ordered that the other brother of Antigone, who was rebellious against the state, should be left in the fields to rot and to feed the jackals and birds of prey. Antigone refused. Oh, of course, the king also put in place what would be done to any person who dared to violate the edict, the dictatorial edict. And so, brother, sister, yeah, there's always that family membership, and also the bloodline, the call of the blood, if you want to call it that way. And so Antigone refused. I will bury the one who fought against the state because it's my brother. And so what eventually happened here is the whole idea of authority, of what is just, and then the way that Antigone responded to it. Yes, King Creon ordered the Antigone, yeah, to be put in jail, in dungeon, where she would die. But the great point of the play is also that argument about justice and law. Which law, is it God's law that should be obeyed? God's law, we're talking of ancient Greece in this time, where you have Zeus and the rest of them, that the gods have established that whoever dies must be buried. Of course, it's also one of the corporal works of mercy of Christianity. You can also say of traditional religions, yeah, you bury the dead. There are times that even in the African culture, that it will cost more to bury the dead than to take care of the living of that person when the person was alive. So they don't joke with it. And so here comes the argument then between King Creon, who is arguing on the state level. The state makes the law, you're supposed to obey it, you violated it, therefore you will die. But Antigone is arguing the other way around, that there are higher laws made by God, made by the supreme being, that the state cannot violate. And so Antigone never gave up on that. So there's this whole issue of justice and about law. We usually say when it comes to legal things, there's usually this disparity between what is legal and what is just. And so the Antigone story brings this one out very well. And yeah, that's it. I will try to get a copy of the unpublished play to the person who asked for it.
That's a fantastic, Peter, and it's a great answer there. So another person asked a question, a similar question that I had, to get the actors to speak about some of the difficulties or pleasures that they had in doing the reading of the play and being introduced to the play. I mean, again, to give all praise to, I think, the wonderful place that we have, right, with Casey Milton Pott, and the wonderful work of these actors, and especially in this time, right, that we've all been shut down, right, and you guys, have been doing work on the side, but not your normal work like everyone else. So what was it like in general, just being introduced to this play? Did you find difficulties, pleasures with it, and I would also like to know how it's been, for you as practicing actors in this shutdown world that we've had, and what it's like to get together even in this moment here and do a reading. So,
as far as my part went, I was talking to my brother, and it made me think of a role that I had to play that he directed as a one-man show, the Negro Whisperer, where I had to go and go back and forth and basically flip back and forth through so many different situations. So that was one way that I was able to connect to the role that was given to me just as an actor.
I think that's open to all actors.
Yeah.
If anyone has any comment, yeah.
I just, just as an actor, we've been out of work for the most part, and I say work, but practice. We've been out of practice over a year now, and so I think everybody has the same mentality of whenever, wherever, whatever we can do. We're always appreciative of it, so we're always excited. Especially at Melting Pot, we're always excited to get our hands on something. I say new, but something that hasn't necessarily made its rounds yet. We're always chomping at the bits for that. We love doing things that's going to cause discourse, cause conversation. And so for me, personally, Nicole sent an email, and I think I was the first one, like, I'm in, I'll do it. And so, anytime I have an opportunity to do something, especially, with regards to fostering, nurturing, and just, getting a playwright's words out there. I know when you write it, you hear it in your head, but, you want some voices to go along with it. And so I'm always excited to do that. That's always the most exciting thing to me, is just to play with the lines and see, challenge myself to really discover what it is that the playwright intended. And so that's kind of how I, look at pretty much every opportunity. So I was excited to be doing something again.
Anyone else?
I did want to throw something out before any other actors pop in and cut me off. But I think, the more you listen to it, I feel like the play has a lot of it has a lot of melodrama for me. And I really enjoy that as a device. But I think this would be a very cool musical. So I'm going to challenge you to help us think about it as a musical, because I think that the clash of the classical music with the, African music, the different mythologies coming together could be just a really fantastic musical. And so, think about that, Peter, because I think that the way that the characters are written right now, they're very melodramatic in the sense of they have a lot of dense information to offer. And so I think that those type of characters can really actually have room to express in song that allows the audience to kind of sit with some of the major events that we have to deal with and process during the musical. So I'm hopeful you will think of this. So that's my director 2 bits of I think it would be a very cool musical.
Okay. Nicole, I don't write music, so it means you and I, we have to work on it together.
Yes, we can change the form. We can change musical form. It doesn't have to be a musical a la Broadway, but I think it could be an interesting choice. So if I cut off actors by jumping in, my apologies.
Anyone else?
I would just, piggyback and second all of them. I agree with Dr. Nicole. I think that's a good idea to consider, Peter. And as an actor, I was really excited to have the opportunity. I know the Casey Melting Pot and Nicole and Harvey well, and so I know, what kind of things that they work with, and I was really excited to jump on board. And immediately upon reading, I saw the Nigerian influences here, which I was also excited to help tell the story. And yeah, it's nice to have acting work. I think with this quarantine and all the time that we've spent at home, a lot of actors are just grateful to do any acting. So thank you again for having me.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So the next question there is, what's the writing process like for creating this play? And any actor can also jump back in and give us more points as well. But Peter, what is the writing process like for creating this play?
This is interesting. Because theater is my profession. I don't just write plays only. I also act. I also direct. And so the process of writing this play was one of isolation, because as a theater person, I have to go through the emotions of the characters. Yeah. And that was why I told you earlier on how that of Olokun affected me the most, of the little child. Yeah, so I wasn't just seeing myself as a playwright. I was a playwright, an actor, and a director all at once, because I'm figuring out where these people will be on stage, the way they will say all these particular things, what they're going to be doing and all. And so it was pretty tough. My wife used to, and she's studying upstairs at the loft, where we have the big office area. It's very expansive. Or I'm downstairs, occasionally, because thoughts are coming to me and I write by hand. I don't want to mess up with the computer or something like that, because the ideas will vanish. So it's pretty easy for me then to go down. If my wife is upstairs, I'll be downstairs where I'm writing. If she's downstairs, I'll be upstairs. And so then writing some of the characters, especially Olokun in the first, in Act 1. Yeah, I don't know how I found myself having wet eyes. I actually made fun of myself by the time you read the, the process. I'm sure Nicole would have read it, that my eyes were wet. So, and then I made a joke about it. After all, men are not supposed to cry. Yeah, so you could see then that as a playwright, I go through all the emotions. It's not, I'm not just putting down words. I'm also thinking how the performers, the actors, the actresses, how they're going to be able to put this in it, how it will sound and all that kind of thing. So yeah, of course, you're talking of also merging things that have been researched, reality, things that actually occurred, and then figuring out how you might want to express them in a way that will make them a little unfamiliar. And that is why you see the Supreme Being and the angel or the devil and all this that are referred to. They're not like the one exactly that you have in Christianity. Yeah. I make them a little strange, because no one will talk about God like that. And I like the way that Nicole read the stage direction of the form of this particular Supreme Being. So you have all these things then playing in my mind, how to bring them out, how to make sure that all these things come together to work. And then I'm also thinking, because this is what happens as a theater person. There are some things that will just come to you when you start writing. How do you match feeling and form? The feeling that is in you that you want to bring out, the thoughts in you, how can you find a form for them? And so this is where the great German influence, great German director, playwright also, Bertolt Brecht, came in. Yeah, you can see with his theory of alienation, in which you create things but you make them a little strange. You stay back and say, well, what is he talking about? Or, well, he's talking about God, supreme being, but this is not the one we know. And so you then stay back a little, and that allows you to actually think of the things being said instead of being carried away by the emotions that would come if you're actually looking at things in a very realistic manner. Yeah, and so that was why somehow during the process, I was finding a way to make sure that the creative feeling that I had would be matched by the form that I developed for it. And yes, I'm sorry that COVID-19 has not given us the usual way of doing plays, because if that had been possible, in which actors and actresses and the director are doing things on stage, it would be a different outcome altogether. But Nicole did a great job, and I have had to thank for it. Yeah. And let me just say one more thing quickly. I never spoke to Nicole during this time when she was working with the actors and everything. Yeah, because she's a colleague. For me, I thought it was already quite some pressure that she's going to do something written by me, a colleague. And so, but I'm used to directing plays in which other plays of dead playwrights and so forth. You don't get those playwrights to come and talk. So that gives me liberty when directing such plays. But here was I then, and then Nicole, we know each other, and we're in the same profession. And she and Sean, I don't know how they went about it, and said they directed my play. Okay, don't ask me any question. I'm staying away from it because I didn't want to put more pressure on Nicole. Nicole, so thank you so much. And Sean, thank you too. And
I think it's an honor, really. This was, to me, a service to you as a director in the field and a scholar artist in the field who's made way for me as an artist scholar in Black Studies. So, you know, this is really just a way to lift up your work and the multiple slashes that you occupy as an artist, as a scholar, and as someone who really centered theater studies within the Black Studies tradition for many, many years. And you supported me as a director for a very long time. I'm very thankful. So thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Absolutely. Last question, Peter. You mentioned isolation. So is the completion of the play, was it therapeutic for you? Did it energize you or exhaust you in the process?
Is a theater person ever exhausted? Yes, we talk of purgation of emotion. Yeah, you go through all this process, the emotion and all that. Yes, it's not the kind of exhaustion in which you say, oh, I'm not going to do this again. Yeah, it is the feeling that this thing is done and you are happy with it, and you want to see how those who are going to tackle it, whether those who are going to read it as a play or those who are going to perform it as a play, or the director. Or, of course, there are other challenges here, the scenery and all the rest of them. So you want to see how they will do all those things without actually interfering with them, because the script is out there. Once you've written it, yeah, it's left for others to recreate it. That is why a director also recreates things, and the actors, because they are the ones who are putting life into the whole thing. Yes, you could say, yeah, I won't say I was exhausted. It's okay that I finished it, just so as to carry on with some other plays that are already in my mind again. It's like getting something done and then you moving on to another thing. But what is so great about being a theater professor is that I also have to teach. So apart from just writing a play or doing other intellectual things, we still call it publish or perish in the universities and so forth. It's also good that there's also another avenue that allows you to break away from the creative and other parts of writing it, because yes, I've got to teach, and then of course my mind was already going this time to how I was going to use reggae music to discuss so many other socio-political things, and that occupied my mind after the play. Yeah.
Well, this has been fantastic, Peter, and I will say that there's two more comments. I'll just read them. One is giving us what, a third or fourth comment of saying yes to the musical idea. So I think something has started here with the trend. And also I think this is a nice one to end on, that the person says that they're impressed with all the actors in the experience of this performance via Zoom. And they thank you for bringing this art into our homes, which is the world that we live in right now through this type of system with Zoom. I want to say thank you all for everything. Thank you for your performances. Thank you, Peter, for your words. Thank you, Nicole, for your direction. Thank you, Harvey Williams, for everything you do with KC Melting Pot. All these wonderful actors and the work that they do both at KC Melting Pot and everywhere else. And hopefully someday we will actually be able to see this performed on a play, on the stage, which would be wonderful to see. And I hope that we can bring that in. I thank everyone for joining us tonight. Again, this is one of the programs that we have for our 50th anniversary. We have a busy week. They're not all for the 50th anniversary, but we have an event tomorrow with the students. The Black Student Coalition has an event at 5 p.m. With Reverend Harrington about 13 and Grown, a book that she wrote about the civil rights movement, her growing up in Mississippi. We have the third event of our diversity speaker series on Thursday at 7 p.m. With Barbara Ransby. Then we, as I said, we will have a two-day event on the 22nd and 23rd of April, where we're really having the event of celebrating our 50th anniversary with a series of programs on those 2 days, starting in the evening of the 22nd. I appreciate everyone. I hope everyone continues to stay healthy and safe. I wish my department a wonderful 50th anniversary. And I look forward to meeting everyone, hopefully in person sometime very, very soon. I always say that this is the weird section where I'm going to say goodbye and I will hit end the program and we will all disappear. So understand it's a very abrupt system, but please, everyone, please stay safe and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.